Hello everybody, I'm Avian, and we are now jumping into Dungeon Alchemist, which is another map making program that I use quite frequently. To be fair and give you as much of an apples to apples comparison as I could between this and Tailspire, I thought it was only right that I create the same map that I made in my Tailspire video. So we again will be making Fistandia's mansion from the Candlekeep Adventure 1. So the first thing to know is that Dungeon Alchemist does tend to automatically generate a random map when you click new map, unless you preset specific things. I just hit new map, I didn't preset anything, so we're going to start off with the basics, which is making a brand new map. So you go to your file, new map. I want digital because I'm not entirely sure of what dimensions I'm going to end up with in the end. Let's see, it gives you all these different types of biomes that you can use. I think I'm going to go with greens. Well, no, because if I do that, I'm trying to think of when I import, if I import into Owlbear, I think I want to do the black dark parchment background again. So we're going to choose that. We're going to hit create. It should give me just a plain parchment background when it's done generating. Yes. So, couple basic control overview is you have your room controls on this top block with the grid. You can choose what type of room you're drawing. You can choose the pre-generated style of room if you like. And then over here, you can choose whether you want objects or lights, walls, windows, doors. I'm going to add my doors, windows, and objects later because I am going based off a templated story map. So I want to try to match what the descriptions are for those rooms individually. So all I need are my walls and my floors. The floors should generate automatically as long as this walls box is clicked. And to draw your room, you basically choose what you want. This is a mansion, so I'm going to go into the mansion. I'm going to go ahead and start with what looks to be M3 on the map, just because that's a good starting spot, a good reference point for me. That is a 4x4 room. So you have your square. These should be preset to standard 5-foot square unless you go in and change your settings. It will even give you your little dimensions in the corner there. And then when you have your shape you want, you just click the X, and in a minute you have your room. Once we have our layout, I will go back and we will be changing walls and adding items and things. But I'm going to continue to go over the basics for y'all real quick, and then we'll go into build. And I'll just do basically a screen record of the build start to finish. The next thing to show you, I think, would be walls if you want to change your walls. So you have all your different styles of walls here. You have nature, you have railings, stone, wood, whatever you like. So for this, story goes is Fistandia is a mage who has created the magnificent mansion within the library. I'm going to say she probably likes library-esque dark intellectual style, so I'm going to choose something there. To change your room, you click on what you'd like so that it's highlighted by the box, click on the room, and just double click, it changes for you. Floors are the next one down. They have pits, special nature, wood, grass, things of that. I think we're going to go into the artificial. I'm going to choose the woodwork because that fits with the vibe I think I would go for. I'm going to go for this almost overlaid. Gotta think about what I want. M3 is the library within the library. It is her personal library that she has made. But we're going to go. That's the one we've got. I'm going to go with this lighter. Oh, see, that's not in sync. We're going to go with this. So basically, click, drag, and it puts it in for you. All right, the next thing would be your objects. So all of your objects, all your lighting, everything for individual placement is going to be here. If you want to do the auto-generated placement, you can come over here. You can click whatever you think you like best. Go to this third tab above your rooms where you follow the instructions, click on a room to select it. You can choose your theme here. We're gonna call it a kitchen. And it basically auto-generates for you. I'm gonna Control Z, back out. We're gonna go to individual placement. You do have a search bar. So for example, if you know you want a bookshelf, type that in, and it gives you most of a range. Now, some of these, I don't know really how it's sorted. They're continuously updating it, so I've discovered that sometimes things don't have all their keywords set. So as you know, with just shelf, there's a lot more. There's another update coming in July, which I'm extremely excited for because it's going to include roofs and higher floors. Right now it's just a single floor. But even just that has been immensely useful. But anyway, to find the shelf I want, I'm going to go into furniture because I have something in mind. And then you click on the shelves. And this has all your Alchemist shelves and everything too. There is a dark wood shelf in particular. It might have been under cupboards. So you see there's more bookshelves under cupboards. So I think some of this is just that because things are still being updated, they haven't been keyworded as much as some of the earlier items are. So there's all of these now that are in here. So I would recommend, unless you really truly know the name of the thing you're looking for, I would recommend just going to your categories and scrolling until you see what you like. Now the one I wanted were these right here. And you can use your mouse wheel to scroll up and down. If you hold your right mouse key, you can drag your room around. Go ahead and add these in. You can click this double square button that will clone your objects. And now you have some bookshelves. Now, the other thing you can do is windows and doors. According to our main map, there are 2 doors off this room. So this is your doors button right here. They have it separated into single, double, archways, fences, pretty much all the categories you might want. What I want is a single door, and I want something just standard door looking. So I'm going to go for this one right here. Check my squares. I know that I want one door on this wall, and then I want a door right there. If we wanted a window, we go to the window button, choose a window. Works exactly the same way. You can also, if you have something selected but you decide you don't want it, just right click and it deselects for you. So we have gone over walls, flooring. They do have some tokens. Same deal, choose your token, place it on the map. If you want to check your view, there is a wheel up in the upper right hand corner. You can click on that and it'll rotate and show you different views. So you have your standard straight top down. You have a slightly 3D, which is what I mostly work in when I'm doing these. And then if you click a third time, you have like a 3/4 view of your room. if you want to delete a token, you can either select it and then go to the trash can, or you can just hit the delete key on your keyboard. Next, they have lighting. They have 4 main types of lighting that change the sun to night, day. You can also click on this little waffle. No, it's not really a waffle. It looks like a toggle grid there. And you can play with different ambient moods here. You can move the sun around. You can make it brighter. You can change your shadows. It's really cool. I'm going to go back to the default sun. If I had chosen an outdoor map, this would be where you would change your terrain. It has paintbrushes for different types of grass, stone, pathways. You can put water on. You can change the height of your terrain. Unfortunately, because I chose the dark parchment, I can't show you that. We also have fogs and different things here. So this would be magic, electric arcs, fireflies, bay fireflies. This is the will-o-wisps. You can click on clear and just get an eraser tool. Fogs, which I will be using later. We've got your black smoke, cold fog, and again, you can mix and match. Okay, clear effects. And then the last one they have would be different types of fire. So Alchemist, black fire, blue fire. Well, that'd be cool. Feywild effect, just cinders. So one of the things this map program can do, is it can export videos. So if you want to do a animated map, it is built-in capabilities to export as an animated map, which is really nice. Let's see. So back to the items. You can, if you tick off collisions, it will no longer snap to grid. So I could take my bookshelf, put it anywhere on the floor that I want. You can even stack, change your height, things like that. This bar right here with the up and down arrows changes your height. You've got your trash can. You've got your rotating arrow right there. Not every item, but a lot of items will let you change the physical size as well if you click on one of the corners. So those are also important to note. So I'm going to go ahead and clear these bookshelves out because I'm going to come back to the decorating in a bit. And right now I am just going to go ahead and get my basic rooms done. And we're going to go into the build. Oh, one more thing before I forget, since I looked down here and realized I hadn't shown you how to change the shape of your room. If you are wanting to do curves, different shapes, it's actually pretty easy. You just have to do it in bits and pieces. So this first corner here, we would do a square and then give us a highlighted box. You can drag your corner. So if you drag out, it gives you a inverse. If you drag in towards the center, it gives you a curve. And then you just click on your little arrow and it gives you a rounded space. Oh, I need to uncheck my boxes. There we go. Alright, so we have our basic floor plan here. Um, I can now tell how much space I need to use, not use, and with that we can change the dimensions of our map. So you can just go up here to the main corner of your map, drag it down to where you no longer want or no longer need, and it just automatically adjusts once it's finished just loading. See, I'm trying to keep just a little bit off to each side so that, well, a little bit more up top. Because I want some room to put in fog and glowy bits to get that extra dimensional feel later. So now I have the size of my map. At this point, I do like to save. There is an autosave feature, but I'm never quite sure what the mark is, like how many things you do before it autosaves. And I think you have to turn it on and tell it to do that. So since I can't remember what my settings are, I'm just going to go up here, save as, name it after my map. Okay, got that done. All right, and now we're back to putting doors in. I'm going to go through as well and color my rooms. I know roughly what each room is. So I'm going to go through and put walls, doors, windows, that sort of thing in next. If you want to change just a single section of wall, you can go to your single paintbrush. If you want to add a wall, you go to plus and it adds a wall. If you want to remove a wall, you go to your minus and make your brush the size you need it. So there is all of our walls, windows, and floors in. All right, so now we're getting into the part where I'm going to start merging furniture a little bit more complicated to make what is described in the layout of the quest. So one of the things was it is a bookshelf with like a writer's desk that flops down that is chained to the wall. That does not exist in our current assets, so I'm going to have to make it. So I'm going to go over to our desks. I'm going to find one that kind of fits what's in my head. I'm kind of liking this one because it's nice and big, but it also, like if you look at it from the 3/4 view, it doesn't quite have that chained look, and it takes up most of our space. But I also like this has our writer's desks folded down into it. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that quite matches. That's a furnished one. So yes, I think I'm gonna go with the tan colored one. That is also, that's Potion's desk. I'm gonna go with this because it's got the hinges and everything that I want. I'm not using the furnished one. If you ever want to change color, you can click on your little, and it'll change the colors of your desk for you, but I'm kind of liking that. And then we want the bookcase again. Because there is one that is the same color. Just gotta find it in here. Here we are. So what you want to do after you put it on your map is you want to turn your collision to off, so it's not going to try to stack or tell you you can't put things. You may have to stack it a little bit, and then you can take your little arrow and drop it down so that you get the vibe you want, which I like it like that. I am now going to go for the books because we have all sorts of books both here and there. The let's see if the one described was open or closed. Okay, so you can see the cover according to the I want to call it a manual, and it describes a bus. So I'm going to go for this one that looks like it has a face on it. I'm going to put that there. It also said there was a plain bench, which I know we have a plain bench here. I'm going to size that a bit better for our reading desk. Turn it 3/4 view. Actually, piano bench might be. There we go. And now we can go into our other books. Put them on the shelf where appropriate. Got that one in there. This is what I was looking for. There we go. Now we're looking for chains. See, that is a chain rack. So the concept is that each of the books has a chain that goes from its spine into the desk, kind of like the restricted section in the Harry Potter books. See if I can't replicate that somehow with these. Oh, that'll do. So I'm just gonna go ahead and place this. so that it looks like padlocked. Oh, it's trying to go on the floor. So lift it up. Drop it down to where I want it. There we are. That is close enough to give the vibe. And I'm just trying to see how dusty abandoned it was in here. Okay, so the image used has like dust and webs and stuff, but based on what I've read in the rest of the lesson, it says the owner of the mansion would frequently disappear there. However, it's also hidden. So I'm just going to see. I have these spider webs. I don't really like that one. Can't do that. Because I think it's probably been abandoned long enough. That we can get some of that webby. Because nobody else knew that room was there, so the people left behind would not be taken care of and or dusting it. So we'll do that. The next bit I wanted to show you is that there is supposed to be a map of a starry night on the wall. So we can go over to your decorations, choose the painting that fits where you want. Like that is going to be too big for what I want, but that could work. So I'm going to put that on the wall, and then we are going to choose this little bit right here that has the frame on it, and we can load in a picture of what we like. I don't know if you can see that's all right. You'll see it once I've got it there. So you find the picture you want. And in my case, it is a picture of a star map. Just right here. And it loads in. And if I turn my collision off and rotate it, you can kind of see that I've put my own image into the map. Put it back on, and I'm going to clone it for the other wall because the star map is supposed to take up everything but the door, so it should be on both sides of the door, I think. In my head, it's probably like wallpapered over, but I don't have the ability to do that here, but that will be enough representation for my players to get the idea. And then this room is supposed to come with the illusion of a star, like they walk in and the whole room has like telescopes and stars all over the walls. They have these green screen walls. If you go under your structural items selection and go to freestanding walls, I believe it's all the way somewhere at the bottom here. I could be wrong. Might be under abstract. Yes, it's not under structural, it's under abstract. So which is this folded triangle symbol. Customizable vertical plane, or you could do customizable wall. Since I already have walls in, I'm going to use the vertical plane. And it's the same thing. You click on, you can actually make a template for your thing, or you can just load in an image. I already have the image I want. So I'm going to load that in. And then I'm just going to line it up with my wall plane here. Oh, that might be how I wallpaper over the... And you have... It's... My picture doesn't line up perfectly, but I'm not particularly worried about it. Just gonna want to get it lined up so it covers over the sides here. And then we're going to cover over our hidden door. But I still kind of have my post there, so I will remember that there's supposed to be a door there. Now, the reason I didn't do this for the other room is because the other room specifies that it is a map. And I want to be able to remember that it is not the illusion room in the heat of the moment. And you can just clone these once you get your picture in until you get the way you want it to be. And I think it is really cool that they have allowed their users to do that. I'm going to actually keep the doorpost. There we go. Oh, slight overlap here. There we go. So looking down at this room now, you can kind of see the illusion is there. And I think when I do the Fog of War, I'm going to try to obscure the walls a little bit. We also have the telescopes I needed. The other thing I'm going to do is we have our crystal ball that's casting the illusion, but I'm going to try to have this saved as an animated map for my players. So I'm going to try to use one of these magic artifact things to overlay. I believe I saw an orb of force somewhere in here. Utility. Yes. We have a force sphere. Turn my conflict off. Scale it down. I'm going to change my color until I get the kind of vibe I want. I think I'm going to go with the white. Because my idea is that it's just a hair bit larger. Yes, and I've centered it on the crystal ball on the platform. So it should, from this angle, look like it is actively doing something. And then, see if I've got a light that'll fit inside. Let me go to my lights real quick. Scale that down really far. See, that becomes translucent, but I don't really want that seen. I just want the light part seen. Let's see what gives the most. Ooh. I may move things around a little bit to get what I want, but we've got the yellow. that gives a very eerie kind of glow. So by combining things creatively, you can get some really interesting effects. And that gives kind of the effect I was hoping to do for this room. So there we are. We are all decorated. We have enough that I should be able to remember off the top of my head what's where. I think I've given the vibe, I hope, that my players will want for each room. And it should let me just quickly scroll to the room I need rather than looking at a number on the page. I'll be able to go by title, and for my brain, that'll just work better. Did I miss anything real quick before? See, that's been abandoned, so there's probably not a light. Oh, I want some lights in this room real quick. And then we will decorate the outer portion with the fog and everything to get kind of that extra dimensional plane type of vibe. All right. So I think I'm pretty happy with this. This may actually be the final version of the map I use in game. I can get it to just center here. So now the next step is to export our map. That is pretty simple. I'm just going to save it real quick. Save. So under our file menu, go to export, and it's going to give you your export settings. All right. So once you're in your export menu, you can choose how you want to do it. You can choose based on what virtual tabletop you're going to do. You can do just your picture, or you can do your video export if you want an animated map. I am going to attempt to export this as an animated map, so I'm going to click video export. You then choose your file type. I'm using Albert Rodeo, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to save it as an MP4 because I believe that is going to be what works best for that particular platform, although it might work for either one. But I know for a fact I checked that MP4 would work, so that's going to keep it. You can then choose how you want your visual to be. If you want the full 3D wall perspective, if you want the limited perspective, if you just want the top-down perspective, because we have the option for it, and because I put those illusions in, I'm going to put the 3D wall variant in there. What that's going to do is it's going to choose from the center of your map and do the 3D view outward from there. So not every room is going to be centered on, but it gives you kind of that almost a radial version. This I don't think matters so much if you're doing the video. I have my export. You can choose if you want normal, grid, borders. I do not want any borders on that because I had the effects going off the edge of the map, and I kind of liked that. If you want your grid on or off, it's going to be a thing. I'm going to choose off because I'm going to put the grid on in Owlbear Rodeo. We also have whether you want a hex grid or a square grid. Again, because I'm not doing the grid, I don't want that on. However, if I did want it, you can choose both the transparency of your grid as well as the color of your grid. But turning that off for this. And then once you have everything selected, you just choose to export and where you want that exported to. I am actually going to put this in my I have a little Candlekeep folder that I'm going to save this to. All right, so everything's saving. You should get your export complete. In which case you just hit your continue button and you can move on either to add details or make a new map. But this is Dungeon Alchemist. It is available on Steam. It is a little bit more expensive than some of the other map programs out there, but for all the cool features and things you can do, and the fact that they are still actively updating and adding new things and new features, makes this, in my book, 100% worth it. It is not a subscription as far as I'm aware. It's just a buy and play, and you get all the benefits of the updates. Anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed. I hope maybe this was helpful to some of y'all, and until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day.